Oh, hi everybody, welcome to Mobhammer. I'm Mob, and today we're looking at the warm red triad of paints from the Warpaints Fanatic range from the Army Painter. Last week we did the Cool Reds triad range, so if you want more detailed explanation, go check out that video. Otherwise, you will be seeing me do some comparisons between these two different red triads. Anyways, let's jump in. Resplendent Red is a dark red war paint, and the first in the Warm Reds triad. Despite being called dark, it is a little bit lighter than some might expect, and I do kind of like it as a base coat for your miniature. It's a solid color that holds up to its name, Resplendent. After giving the second coat time to dry, you're left with the following results. Comparing its Cool Red equivalent, Basilisk Red, you can see how much lighter it does appear. Basilisk Red is a dark purplish red paint. It's the purple tones in the Basilisk Red that gives it this darker look. Angelic Red is a strong red war paint, and second in the triad. A great subtle step up from Resplendent Red that really brings up the saturation. When used together, you'll be able to see why Resplendent is referred to as dark red. After applying the second coat and giving it time to dry, you're left with the following results. Compared with its Cool Red equivalent, Wyvern Fury, which is a deep purplish red, this is all coming down to a matter of personal preference. Next up is Legendary Red, a reddish orange paint and third in the triad. While the Cool Reds had purple tones, the Warm Reds go in the direction of using orange, which fundamentally makes sense, but I feel like I've lacked vocabulary ahead of time, and this whole naming convention of the triad system is super handy for me. I'm a technical person, so being able to understand color I think is a cool thing. What can I say? I'm a nerd. After giving the second coat time to dry, you're left with the following results. Pulling out its Cool Red sibling, Dragon Red, a vivid purplish red, you can really see the difference these two triads have gone in. Sacred Scarlet is a light reddish orange paint and fourth in the Warm Reds triad. And I'll be honest, I was kind of expecting it to be labeled as some sort of pink. And if you agree with me, just wait until we get to the 5th and 6th colors in the triad. Given this second coat a chance to dry, you're left with the following results. Comparing with Pure Red in the Cool Reds triad, which is arguably the most red out of these two triads. I could see these two paints getting used together on some miniatures. Violent Vermilion is a pale red pink paint. Once again, my opinion. It is also the 5th in the triad. I really do love these names, but there are some other paints that I have no idea how they came up with these names or what they're referring to. My contact, the Army Painter, has mentioned the idea of going through how each paint was named with me in podcast form, and honestly, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Let me know if you'd like to see that sometime on my channel. Giving the second coat a chance to dry, you're left with the following results. An awesomely named paint also needs an awesomely named counterpart. I thought that was a pretty fun transition, fam. Blood Chalice is a brilliant red color, but now that I'm looking at these two colors together, I can start to see some pink tones in Blood Chalice as well. I hadn't really noticed that before. The 6th and final paint in the triad is Raging Rouge. You know what? Something I just thought of is that it would be really cool to see this used as some sort of skin tone. I'm curious if I then gave it a flesh wash, how it would play. Something I'm going to have to give a try. Although I did find it a bit too light in pigments, it required more than 2 coats. But once you gave the third coat time to dry, you're left with the following results. And then finally, it's the top dog in Cool Reds, with its hot-headed counterpart, Raging Rose. I mean, come on, that's kind of funny. I could totally see Raging Rose being some skin base, and then Raging Rouge was its highlights. Huh. Which really got me thinking how great of a combo these two triads are, because lining up with its counterpart, they totally work together to give it this deep shadow look. I'm adding this to my to-do list. Using my new gallery airbrush, I did a zenithal highlight on this mech, and lightly thinned down Basilisk Red to give a solid base coat, and then adding Resplendent Red really gave this neat shadowing effect. If you've ever been interested in trying airbrushing, you should consider starting with Gallery. Use the link in my description and use the code MOB at checkout for 10% off. Now let's get back to focusing on Warm Reds. The next set of tests involve 3 bases, 1 primed white, 1 gray, and finally 1 black. The comments last week, there were a few people who preferred the gray base coat of the colors, and honestly, I think it's a nice middle ground. But giving it time to dry, I bring out the cool reds and you can see them compared as well. Looking from top to bottom, it's white base, gray, and then black. Time to move on to painting a live model. After doing Xeno Scum last week, we're going to paint up a Space Marine. I miscalculated a bit how much time I thought it would take, but it really should have been obvious. The Marine is actually much larger than Termagant and has a bit more nooks and crannies, meaning that I have to be a bit more diligent and really take care to do that second coat of paint. Next up is Angelic Red. While I paint this, I just wanted to say that I get sent these paints from the army painter to do with what I will. So it certainly expands the number of tools at my disposal, but at the end of the day, I am not compensated monetarily in any way. So all these opinions and thoughts are my own. I only get something small from the tiny bit of monetization from YouTube and the few affiliate links I have. So for the most part, I am motivated by passion. But I would like to try to find some way to make this whole video creation hobby more sustainable. So I'm thinking about revitalizing my Patreon. Meanwhile, let's paint on some legendary red. But in regards to my Patreon, I'm not sure how I could offer something that may make it worth it to you. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments and maybe I can try and implement something. For now though, if you're feeling generous, check out my Patreon below if for any reason you'd like to help pay for my coffee on the way to work in the morning. On to Sacred Scarlet, we're getting into color popping territory, but again, I need to start being careful about my application. Next up, Violent Vermilion. I thinned these last two paints in the triad even more to try and work on smoother transitions, although my ability is still kind of mixed, which you'll notice when I move on to Raging Rouge. Anyways, it's something for me to continue to improve. Finally, we add the final layer of highlights with Raging Rouge. Now I will admit, I think I went a little overboard with the coverage and should have been more conservative in this application and probably thinned it a tiny bit more. When I added Raging Rose to the Tyranid last week, it felt a bit more subtle. However, Raging Rouge just really stands out, so this is a great learning moment for me to know and keep in mind for future applications. Here's in order step by step of the triad starting from 1 to 6. Regardless, once I've added some trim and added some metallics and maybe 1 or 2 other colors, I'd be pretty satisfied with this Marine on the tabletop. Let me hear your love or even your hate in the comments. And finally, here are the cool reds and warm reds side by side with all of their references. The next video I do will be of 2 triads I feel are related. The black and gray triad and the warm gray and white triad. I'm thinking this will be a much more helpful format going forward to try and compare similar triads to one another. I hope you'll watch it. I hope that you found this video helpful, and please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know if you have any thoughts about my Patreon. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye!